Hello and welcome to another Teamo8 hand review. We've got three hands here to have a look at today. It's from an 18-seat no limit Omaha high-low sit and go. Let's get right into it. Let's see what our player does here. Okay, min raise is a bit of a steal. Yeah, I don't mind that. Oh, hand is probably strong enough to jam against that. I mean, definitely strong enough to jam against that short stack. But we're a little bit concerned about the big stack here, so a small raise to steal is perfectly fine. Let's see what happens. Okay, called by the big blind. Oh, and he donks. Now that bet makes absolutely no sense. The stack he had left behind is about the same size as the pot. If he had any kind of hand here, he would just jam it. The small bet makes absolutely no sense. I mean, let's try and think about it. Can he have a set of aces? It would seem extremely unlikely. If he had a hand like that he was going to call a raise with, he would have jammed it in the first place before the flop. So maybe he's got 2-3 and he just really doesn't know what he's doing. This bet of his makes no sense. Maybe he's got a rundown like Queen Jack, 9-7, something like that. Whatever the case, he really can't have that much. I mean, that would be a worst case scenario if he had that straight draw. But we've got a low. In that case, we've got the only low draw. Let's see what our player does. Ah, yes, he responds perfectly. Yep. The guy in the big blind, his bet made no sense. So anyway, this is well played. All right, now for the next hand. Where we got it here? Just a second. Okay, so here we are. It's the very next hand. Let's have a look. Let's see what happens. Yep, go for a steal. Perfectly good hand to do that with. Okay, and we're flop trip deuces. We need to be a little bit careful playing this board. Having trips is good, and we've got the ace kicker, but we have to think about what people might have called us with here. Hands like 5, 4, 3, 2, hands like ace deuce, of course. So generally, I like a small flop bet here. We don't need to bet much, maybe about a third of the pot to make money out of some strange ace king type hands, or and basically just not to give a free card to someone to boat up on us. Let's see what happens. Yep, he's bet 641 into 1425. That's a good sized bet. Oh, we've been called. Oh, and the turn card. Yeah, we really don't like this turn card much. Sure, we've brought up a low draw, but it's a pretty weak low draw. And yeah, we've got to think about the sort of hands he called us with pre-flop. We can't be far in front of anything he's called with pre-flop and then called the flop bet. You know, he may have already boated up 2-3. He may have already had us on the flop with, you know, a pair of kings, pocket kings, or king deuce. So we just want to get to the river as cheaply as we can. Now let's see what our player does. Okay, the biggest stack on our left is he's bet 1200 into 2700. We've got, you know, 3100 behind. There's not a lot we can do here. This could be a bluff, but if it is a bluff, it's because he called the flop with the sole intention of bluffing the turn. Some players do that on a paired board. The problem we've got here, if we call this 1200, we're going to be left with a bit less than 2000 in our stack. The pot is going to be, what about 5100? So we're going to be forced to call any river bet. So really, we have to give this hand up now. Let's see what our player does. And he does. Good. That was well played. Okay, we have our final hand that we're doing in this little video. Let's see, what have we got here? We're on the bubble. We've got this player down here. He's got barely more than one blind left. Player up here with a shorter stack than us. Yeah, I think what we're going to do is just try and... There's nothing fancy. We're just going to let this go, see what happens. Okay, well, we get a flop, and we've totally missed the flop, so this is a check fold situation. Our opponent checks behind. Okay, well, we've turned the nut low draw, but we've still got very little equity in this hand if we bet and are called, and there's no need to take any risks because one down here is about to be all in for less than one blind any moment. Let's see what happens. Oh, and our player here has had a brain fart. He's decided to semi-bluff his nut low draw with a combination sort of weak flush draw on a paired board. That's a terrible play, especially on the bubble. That's probably one of the worst ICM positions I've seen in a while. Yeah, nothing much good is going to come of this. Risking being knocked out by an already made full house on the bubble. Plays like this against a bigger stack, it's just crazy. Anyway, I know that this player will look at this and he probably thought he was probably kicking himself the moment he hit the button. I'd like to think it was a misclick, but it takes 2 button clicks to move all in. So anyway, if you'd like to know a little bit more about what we do, just check us out at Teamo8.com. Anyway, until next time, bye for now.